All right, so let's see. What are some ways that I could introduce this fear mechanic? All right, first way. I'm going to start subtly. I'm going to start with like maybe some minor environmental changes. Yeah, something in the environment changes. Let's see. Torches. Torchlight all of a sudden turns and no outside wind force, nothing. All of a sudden the torches just whoosh, they turn to a green color. That's one possibility. What else? Something outside. They all of a sudden hear a bell from like a distant space, but there's no village. There's nothing around, but a bell begins to ring as if some church bell is chiming. Yeah, that's dark, spooky. That's good. Okay, that's good. Let's see, one more. They're standing there and they look down and they notice that their shadow is unnaturally long, as if the sun is sitting really low in the sky and everything's out of whack. Okay. Yeah, this is good. All right, I think I got this. Let's see, what else can I do? All right, so the next one I'm going to use is I'm going to use haunting echoes or whispers inside of their head that they hear. I think this one's really going to play on their psychology. So imagine for a minute if inside of one of the heads of my characters, they hear the voice of a lost loved one all of a sudden just calls out to them from seemingly nowhere. All right. So another thing that I'm thinking about here that I think could be really good is those whispers inside their heads. I think that this could play on their insecurities, their fears, their emotions. That could be really amazing, and a proper use of the fear token itself. 2, what if when they spoke, all of a sudden they had like a delay and an echo, and all of a sudden they hear their voice like 3 seconds later? This could be fantastic. I love this idea. I gotta go write this down. All right, fear can distort perception. A bridge. Okay, so what if like a player character blinks and suddenly it's dusk, or they're inside the Silver Dragon? You get the idea. Or what if a player character like encounters somebody they just met and talked to, and it's like all of a sudden they never saw them before, or the non-player character says, "I've never met you before," or something like that. Maybe a memory that they've had for a long time, like a long-held memory, all of a sudden feels wrong somehow. We could describe to them how that kind of goes bad. I kind of love how fear can distort perception. This is a big one, and I feel like I can use this one pretty confidently. All right, what's next? All right, so let's maybe show them snippets of like potential ruin or failure. Maybe a player character all of a sudden sees one of their friends' lifeless bodies laying right there on the ground in front of them as like a momentary vision. Or maybe like they see a vision of a fire destroying their home city or village. It's just engulfed in flames. Or a shadowy figure appears behind them out of nowhere and then gone. Okay, yeah. Okay. So what if a ruin that they're exploring bears their family crest? Or an NPC that they've never met before calls them by their name. Or suddenly, there's a journal in their bag, one that they never packed. Where did that come from? So what if we allow the laws of nature to sort of reverse themselves and become unhinged? So like an example of this could be something like the dew on the leaves or the grass begins to actually rise upward. Or maybe while the party is in the woods, they encounter an animal that stops and looks at them and speaks to them some kind of warning out of nowhere, like a deer says, beware. Or on some other level, I feel like I have to take this opportunity to think about the animals in nature and how the skin of a snake could be an ominous warning that fear could bring on. Moving on. So, what if all of a sudden fear begins to spread beyond just the party members? Like, what if the townsfolk all of a sudden see party members and they begin to avoid them or turn their backs on them? Or maybe the once friendly innkeeper, the tavern keeper that they've been so close to, like a confidant, he all of a sudden in an unexplainable way is like not really friendly to them anymore. Or what if animals just flee at their approach? And I'm not talking about wild animals, that would normally happen, but what if like a friendly dog in town sees them and growls, or all of a sudden runs away? This is a way to turn the fear away from them. This is kind of cool. I like this. This is gonna work. All right, so I think we need to make it personal. You know, like affect the party members directly based on some of their own personal effects. Like, for example, the cleric. What if the cleric, the voice of the cleric's gods or God has all of a sudden gone silent? Or the rogue. What if the rogue sees his own shadow betraying him? Or what if the warrior, like the warrior's scars, her scars are all of a sudden aching in the face of danger, kind of like an ominous warning? I think making it personal is going to lock it in. I think that's right. So, fear mechanic and using it as a GM is not as bad as I thought. I feel like maybe, you know, whenever it's time for me to burn a fear, I can use any one of these. And I think some of them are really, really solid, from the very, very subtle environmental changes to really digging into the deeply personal, or spreading it out, townsfolk, or something completely unexplainable and dark about the future. I love this. All right, I'm gonna go write some of these down, and I'm using them in tonight's game.